All right, let's cut the crap. Everyone thinks rivers are just these chill-ass streams where ducks hang out, right? Flowing all peaceful like it's some kind of rule. But rivers are fucking beasts.
They really are.
And you're about to get your mind blown about just how badass they really are.
Yeah, rivers are incredibly dynamic systems, constantly shaping and reshaping the landscape.
With a power that's kind of terrifying when you think about it.
For sure.
So before we get to the mind-blowing shit,
Okay.
let's break down the basics.
All right.
Where did these bad boys even come from?
Every river starts somewhere, right?
Right.
And that somewhere is its headwaters.
Yeah.
Usually a bunch of smaller streams way up high, like in the mountains.
Okay.
These streams all flow together, merging into the main channel and create what we call a drainage basin.
A drainage basin.
It's like the river's territory where all the water in the area eventually ends up.
So it's like a giant water gathering system feeding this monster river.
Exactly. But it's not just about the water. Rivers carry a shit ton of sediment rocks, sand, all the stuff they erode as they flow.
Yeah.
And over time, that erosion creates some insane features. Think about the Grand Canyon.
Oh, yeah.
That's the Colorado River's masterpiece, carved out over millions of years.
Damn, that's some serious sculpting.
It really is.
And where does all that chipped away rock go?
Downstream, baby. It gets carried along as sediment, what geologists call alluvium.
Alluvium, okay.
And this stuff doesn't just disappear.
No.
It builds up, creating islands, deltas at the river's mouth.
Uh-huh.
And get this, even deserts.
Deserts.
A lot of the sand in deserts actually started out as rock in mountains, broken down and carried by rivers.
No shit. Deserts are just river leftovers.
In a way, yeah.
That's fucking wild. But hold on, don't all rivers eventually reach the ocean?
Ideally, yes.
Yeah.
But we humans can be real dicks to nature.
Story of our lives.
We use so much water for agriculture, industry, and all our bullshit that some rivers actually dry up before they reach the ocean. The Colorado River is a prime example. It barely trickles into the Gulf of California these days.
That's fucked up. We're basically sucking these rivers dry. But let's move on to something a little less depressing. What about the life in these rivers?
Sure.
I know it's not just ducks, right?
Hell no. Rivers are teeming with life, and it's not all just random.
Okay.
There's actually a system for classifying rivers based on how much they branch out.
Really?
It's called the Strahler number, basically. The higher the number, the more complex the river system.
Okay, so a high Strahler number means more branches, more complexity, but how does that relate to the types of life in the river?
That's where the river continuum concept comes in. This idea basically says that different sections of a river have different jobs based on the resources available.
Interesting.
At the headwaters, where it's cold and fast-flowing, you've got organisms adapted to that shit like shredders that break down leaves and woody debris. Further downstream, the river widens, slows down, gets more sunlight. You get algae growing, different insects, and eventually bigger fish and predators show up.
So it's like a whole ecosystem evolving as the river flows. And the different sections are all connected.
Yeah, it's all about the flow, man. Energy and nutrients are constantly moving downstream. And what happens in one part affects the whole damn system. Think about salmon swimming upstream to spawn those crazy bastards fight against the current, sometimes for hundreds of miles, just to lay their eggs and die.
Talk about dedication.
Right.
But why do they have to die? Seems kind of brutal.
Brutal, but important. Their decomposing bodies release nutrients back into the river, feeding the whole ecosystem. It's a circle of life, river style.
All right, that's some hardcore ecological shit. But let's not forget, we humans have been messing with rivers since, well, forever. It's not just about dams and pollution, right?
Right.
We've built entire civilizations on the banks of these rivers.
Absolutely. Rivers were the original highways, the veins of civilization. Think about the ancient Egyptians. Their whole society was built around the Nile. It provided water for crops, transportation, and even played a huge role in their religion.
So they weren't just using the river, they were worshiping it.
Yeah.
But how did we go from using rivers for basic needs to fucking with them on an industrial scale?
Well, it started small. Ancient civilizations built simple dams and irrigation systems. Then we got fancier. The Romans were masters of water engineering, building aqueducts to bring water to their cities. And of course, the medieval period brought us those awesome water wheels, powering mills, and all sorts of contraptions.
But then shit really hit the fan with the Industrial Revolution, right?
Bingo! We needed more power, more resources,
Yeah.
and we wanted to control nature like never before.
Yeah.
So we built bigger dams, straightened river channels to make them flow faster, and dug canals like the Canal du Midi in France, connecting the Atlantic to the Mediterranean.
So basically, we traded natural beauty and balance for efficiency and economic growth. Sounds familiar.
IKEA.
But hold on, what about all the hype around hydroelectricity? Dams are a source of clean energy, right?
They are, but it's not that simple. Dams fuck with the natural flow of rivers, blocking fish migration and disrupting the movement of sediment.
I see.
Even with fish ladders, the ecological impact can be huge.
Right.
It's a trade-off, like everything else we do.
So we're back to humans being dicks to nature. But it's not just about the practical stuff, right? Rivers have this whole mythical, spiritual side to them.
You hit the nail on the head.
Okay, good.
For as long as humans have been around, rivers have held this deep cultural and religious significance. They're sources of life, symbols of power, and sometimes even gateways to the underworld.
Okay, I'm listening. Give me the juicy details.
Think about the river Styx in Greek mythology, the river of the dead man. That's some creepy shit. And then you've got those biblical flood stories, God wiping out humanity with a massive flood.
Yeah, the whole fuck you, humanity, I'm hitting the reset button kind of thing. But are flood myths always about punishment?
Not necessarily. In some cultures, floods are seen as a source of renewal, washing away the old and making way for the new. It's a destructive force, but also a creative one.
Okay, I can see that it's like nature giving everything a good power wash.
Yeah.
But what about specific rivers that became legendary?
Yeah.
You know, the ones that made it into the history books.
Oh man, there are tons. The Nile, for example, was sacred to the ancient Egyptians. They believed it was a gift from the gods, bringing life and fertility to their land. They even had a god of the Nile, Happy, this dude with a big belly bringing abundance and prosperity.
Makes sense. The Nile was their lifeline. Piss it off and you're screwed.
Yeah.
But I gotta ask, what about those river monsters? You know, the ones lurking in the depths waiting to drag you down to a watery grave.
Those are the best Every culture has its own version of the river monster, from the Loch Ness monster in Scotland to the bunyip in Australia.
And let's not forget about the Kraken, that giant squid motherfucker that supposedly dragged entire ships down to the bottom of the ocean.
It's that primal fear, right? The unknown depths, the things we can't see. Rivers are powerful, but they're also mysterious as hell.
Yeah, and they made for some damn good stories. But beyond the scary shit, what about the spiritual side of rivers? We talked about the Ganges earlier with its purification rituals and all that.
Rivers have always been seen as sacred spaces, places of cleansing and spiritual renewal. The Ganges is a prime example, but there are countless others in many indigenous cultures. Rivers are considered living entities with spirits that must be respected and honored.
It's like a whole different way of seeing nature, right? And not just as something to exploit, but as something sacred and powerful.
Exactly. These beliefs highlight the interconnectedness between humans and the natural world. It's not just about using rivers for our own needs, but recognizing that we're part of a larger ecosystem. We depend on them, and they depend on us in a way.
Oh, that's some deep shit. So we've got rivers as gods, rivers as monsters, rivers as spiritual sanctuaries. It's like they're a mirror reflecting our own hopes and fears about the natural world.
You could say that the stories we tell about rivers reveal a lot about how we see ourselves in relation to nature.
Okay, so we've explored the mythical and spiritual side of rivers, but let's get back to reality for a second. Do these ancient beliefs have any relevance in our modern tech-obsessed world? I mean, we've got dams, concrete channels, and we treat rivers like plumbing systems half the time.
It's a good question, and the answer is complicated. On the one hand, we've become increasingly detached from nature. We see rivers as resources to be managed and controlled, not as sacred entities to be worshipped.
Yeah, it's all about efficiency and profit these days. We've lost that sense of awe and respect that our ancestors had.
But there's also a growing awareness of the importance of preserving natural ecosystems and respecting indigenous knowledge. We're starting to realize that our actions have consequences, and that we need to find a more sustainable way to coexist with nature.
So it's like a battle between our technological arrogance and our growing ecological conscience.
You could say that, and the outcome of that battle will determine the fate of rivers, not just for humans, but for all the life that depends on them.
That's a sobering thought. So we've got a choice to make, folks. Do we continue down this path of exploitation and destruction, or do we rediscover our connection to nature and learn to live in harmony with these vital waterways?
I think the answer is clear. We need to shift our mindset from one of dominance to one of respect, and stewardship rivers are essential for the health of the planet and all its inhabitants, including us.
All right, that's a powerful message. But before we wrap up this part of our River Odyssey, I got to ask, what about the future of rivers? What challenges are they facing, and what can we do to ensure their survival in a world that's changing faster than ever?
The challenges are huge, man. Climate change is already messing with rainfall patterns, causing more droughts and floods. Pollution is still a major problem, contaminating waterways and killing off aquatic life.
And then there are all the dams and diversions we've built screwing up natural flow patterns and fragmenting ecosystems.
Exactly. We've altered rivers so drastically that many of them are just shadows of their former selves, but there's still hope. We have the knowledge and the technology to restore damaged ecosystems and implement more sustainable water management practices.
So what can we do as individuals? It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the scale of these problems.
Yeah.
I mean, what can one person do to save a river?
Every little bit helps, man. We can reduce our own water consumption support organizations working to protect rivers and make our voices heard, vote for politicians who prioritize conservation and hold the polluters accountable.
So it's not just about sitting back and bitching about it, but actually getting off our asses and doing something.
Exactly. The future of rivers depends on our collective action. We need to raise awareness, inspire change, and work together to ensure that these vital waterways continue to flow for generations to come.
All right, folks. That's a wrap for part 2 of our epic river journey. We've explored the myths, the legends, the spiritual connections, and the challenges facing these incredible waterways. But we're not done yet. Stay tuned for part 3, where we're venturing into uncharted territory, the mind-blowing world of extraterrestrial rivers. We're talking Martian channels, methane flows on Titan, and the possibilities of liquid water beyond Earth. All right, so we've explored the rivers of Earth, the good, the bad, the mythical, the downright terrifying. But now we're going full-on cosmic, B.
Full-on cosmic.
We're talking rivers on other planets, shit that'll make you question everything you thought you knew about the universe.
It's pretty wild stuff.
Totally. So let's start with the obvious, Mars. We've all heard about ancient rivers on the red planet. Is that just hype, or is there actual evidence to back it up?
Oh, there's definitely evidence, man. Dried up riverbeds, canyons that make the Grand Canyon look like a ditch.
Wow.
Deltas, all the classic signs that liquid water once flowed on Mars.
So there was water on Mars.
And we're not talking about little streams here. Some of these ancient Martian rivers were massive, carving up the landscape like crazy.
No shit. So Mars was once a wet and wild place. What the hell happened? Did they have some epic Martian drought that sucked all the water away?
Well, the prevailing theory is that Mars lost its atmosphere over billions of years. Without that protective blanket, the surface water either evaporated or froze. But yeah, back in the day, Mars might have had a climate similar to Earth.
Really?
With oceans, lakes, and rivers flowing freely.
Damn, that's a cosmic bummer.
It is.
Like the ultimate planetary hangover. But hold on. If Mars is all dried up now, how do we even know these rivers existed? Are we just guessing based on blurry satellite images?
Nah, we've got some serious tech these days.
Oh.
High-resolution images from orbiters show the riverbeds in amazing detail, and we've got rovers like Curiosity down there, exploring those ancient channels up close, taking pictures and analyzing the rocks.
So it's not just speculation. We've got the proof. That's pretty badass. But Mars is just the beginning, right? What about other planets and moons in our solar system? Any other watery wonders out there?
You bet. Titan, Saturn's largest moon, is a particularly freaky case.
Oh, really?
It's the only moon in our solar system known to have stable bodies of liquid on its surface.
Wait, hold up. You're saying there are lakes and seas on Titan? What the fuck are they made of? Vodka?
Not vodka, but close.
Wait.
Titan's lakes and seas are filled with liquid methane and ethane hydrocarbons that are gases on Earth but exist as liquids in Titan's super cold climate.
Okay, that's some seriously weird shit.
It is, it is.
So we've got methane seas. But what about rivers? Do those exist on Titan too?
Oh, yeah. We've seen river channels, canyons, even what look like deltas, all carved out by flowing liquid methane. Imagine that. Rivers of natural gas.
Dude, that's trippy as hell.
I know.
It's like nature's playing some kind of cosmic joke on us. But seriously, what can we learn from studying these extraterrestrial rivers? Is it just about satisfying our curiosity, or is there a bigger picture here?
It's definitely about curiosity, but it's also about understanding the fundamental processes that shape planets and the potential for life beyond Earth.
Okay, I'm listening. Hit me with that cosmic wisdom.
By studying rivers on other planets, we can learn about their past climates, their geological history, and the factors that might make them habitable or not.
Yeah.
It's like looking back in time, trying to understand how these alien worlds evolved.
So it's like a window into alien worlds. We're learning about their past to maybe predict our own future.
Exactly. The more we understand about other planets, the more we understand about our own place in the universe. It's all connected, man.
All right, that's some heavy shit.
Yeah.
But before we get lost in the cosmic abyss, any final thoughts on this whole river adventure?
Rivers are more than just water flowing downhill. They're dynamic systems that shape landscapes, support life, and inspire our imagination. Whether we're talking about the mighty Amazon or a methane river on Titan, rivers remind us of the incredible diversity and beauty of the universe.
Damn, that's a poetic way to put it. All right, folks, that's a wrap for our epic river journey. We've explored the Earth, ventured into myth and legend, and even touched the stars. But the journey doesn't end here. Get out there, explore your local rivers, and let your curiosity flow. And who knows, maybe someday we'll be rafting down a methane river on Titan. Until then, keep those brain cells flowing. Peace out.